Now, Joe, a movie that is not, whose fortunes are not faring as well as Anora right now is Emilia Pérez. Emilia Pérez, which received 13 Academy Award nominations, which is the second most all time. But shortly after getting those 13 nominations, it was quickly bombarded by all sorts of bad press. There are people who just don't like the movie, think it's overrated. There are people criticizing the lack of authenticity around the setting it in Mexico, and Jacques Audiard saying he doesn't know anything about Mexico and didn't shoot it in Mexico. There was all sorts of bad press, but the cherry on top of all this bad press is this epic meltdown, it's being called, by Karla Sofía Gascón, who's nominated for Best Actress, the lead actress in Emilia Pérez. And this was Variety's headline. Karla Sofía Gascón's off-the-rails Oscar campaign has sucked all the energy out of this year's award season. It's an Oscar season meltdown unlike anything that's ever been seen before. So what are we talking about? What did Karla do? What was her big crime? What caused this big meltdown? Well, back in January, the journalist Sarah Hagee unearthed some offensive statements that Gascón had posted in Spanish on X over the last few years. These disparaging comments touched on topics like George Floyd, Islam. She also apparently called her co-star Selena Gomez a rich rat. This was before they started making, or kind of people went back into the timelines, and apparently she had already been cast in Emilia Pérez when she tweeted that. Yeah. All right, so now Gascón has offered a sort of lukewarm apology and deleted her X account. But then she went on and gave a lengthy interview on CNN that she booked without Netflix's involvement. Netflix, of course, is handled the distribution of Emilia Pérez and is handling the award season campaign. So Netflix did not want her to do this. She did it anyway. And then she has also stayed active on Instagram, where she has been defending herself against criticism, saying that things were taken out of context, accusing Fernando Torres's team of possibly planting some of these stories or digging up these tweets.
Ding. No, I don't know.
We don't know. But regardless, this has just been such a kind of an unprecedented mountain of bad press for someone nominated for an Academy Award, that Netflix has taken the unprecedented step of cutting Karla Sofía Gascón out of all of their press, out of all of their award season sort of campaigns. They're constantly doing. We were in Santa Barbara this weekend. There was all the Oscar nominees were there doing their little Q&As and trying to tell their stories.
Selena was there.
And drum up good press.
Talking
Selena
about
was there,
Emilia Pérez,
and saying that Emilia Pérez has lost some of its magic, she admits, because of all this. But Karla Sofía Gascón has been cut out of all of that. I couldn't get a definitive read on this, but I don't think she's going to go to the Oscars. I think she's been disinvited from everything.
No. That's not true.
I can't find a definitive thing, but
okay, she went off she's still nominated. Like, at the end of the day, it's her
they're
nomination.
Saying she's been disinvited from everything. So maybe
she's
does that include the Oscars?
Disinvited from campaigning. She doesn't want to be. Netflix and the Emilia Pérez people have barred her from any press in America for the picture. I haven't heard that she's not going to attend the award show.
I haven't heard one way or the other, but there was a blanket statements about her just being cut out of everything. Yeah. So we'll see if she shows up at the Oscars or not. Now, my question for you, Joe, is we know that the Oscars have no problem giving awards to bad people. They gave a Best Director to Roman Polanski in 2003, and then everyone in the room stood up and gave him a standing ovation.
Yeah.
In absentia. We also know that Hollywood has no problem navigating around controversies if they want to. Yeah. DC figured out a way to get The Flash into theaters and to get Ezra Miller on red carpets. Hollywood can navigate around things if they want to. They have a very flexible moral code, as we all know. So my question for you is, what was Sofía? What was her actual crime here? What did she do that was so wrong that has basically got her blacklisted from all of these events and from these awards campaigns? Because this is unprecedented. So what was her actual crime?
Karla has gotten caught up in the cultural film discussion of the year. And I think it started before Karla's ugly, hateful, should be condemned tweets.
They're bad. They're bad. We're not saying they're not bad.
They are bad. But let's take one step back 1 second to talk about Emilia Pérez. I think Emilia Pérez, before it won anything, was another Jacques Audiard movie. You seen Dupin? That might fucking send a shiver down your spine to some of the you have to be from where you make a movie about people, they would not like some of his other films, which are never about where he's from or the language he speaks or realism or anything. So there's the first thing, which is like, oh, it's Jacques Audiard's new film, Emilia Pérez, which won, they all won Best Actress at Cannes. It was celebrated, celebrated coming out of Cannes. It won the Golden Globe for Best Musical 3.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So for the entire year, the Academy, the voting bodies, the artistic community, the voting artistic community has liked and championed Jacques Audiard's strange trans cartel leader getting sex change operations via Zoe Saldana's help cartel disappearance Mexico movie. Like, it's a lot. It's crazy. It's a weird film with like, and then, so once it won in Cannes, then it started getting the backlash where people watched the film and they didn't like a lot about its themes or a lot about its production or a lot about its actors. So it started getting a lot of bad sort of press in the cultural, conversation. Oh, this movie isn't good for trans people. This movie isn't about Mexico. This movie isn't good for Mexican people. This movie isn't good for all these people, which it may or may not be. I don't think Jacques Audiard gives a shit about any of those things because he's not concerned with that. He's not running for president. He's a crazy man that makes crazy movies. So when Karla's tweets came out, the Academy, the American culturati were looking for a dismount because they didn't want to have any more cultural conversations about Emilia Pérez. Everyone lost the thread. Is it championing trans people? Is it not championing trans people? Is it helpful for diversity in Mexico?
So they were already looking
Is it not
for
helpful for
they were looking
I think
for
everyone
a
was like,
reason.
can we not talk about Emilia Pérez anymore? Like, sorry, like it was like once it was weird and pro-trans, people liked it, but once people started hearing that it was anti-trans in their cultural diet, they were like, oh, I don't want to be voting for that movie, but I've already
needed
backed
a
it
reason.
so hard. So like everyone was just like looking for an out. This Karla thing came up, and then she handled it terribly. So Karla, then the tweets came out after the Golden Globe win because Emilia Pérez was just marching to Best Picture, just like flying to Best Picture. 13 nominations. It's fucking Titanic level. Like, it was going for it. Then Karla's tweets came out, and I think that the Academy breathed a sigh of relief because they don't have to talk about Emilia Pérez anymore and decide whether or not it's good for trans people or Mexican people. Karla's things were so ugly. A couple things about that. Number one, Karla's tweets existed before you cast her in the film. Karla's tweets existed before the campaign started for her Best Actress.
Happened.
And like, if all of these PR people are so freaking like, there's no way that the good people over at Neon that I just complimented wouldn't have like looked into the. Just if you just Google a couple things on X or Twitter, you can learn a lot about what Karla thought about a lot of different things. So my first thing is like, you let her get really far down the line before anybody told the famous person to check their Twitter for bad old tweets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Second thing. It's, everybody wanted to make Karla the winner so that they could pat themselves on the back for trans rights. And then the second Karla had a problem, everybody abandoned her with the power and quickness of 1,000 suns. It's like, we want to celebrate trans representation and give this woman her due. But the second it gets difficult, we're going to fucking throw you under the bus so hard your head's going to fucking spin. Fuck you. So you can be trans if you follow all of our rules and thoughts, and then we will give you an Academy Award. But if you are trans and don't follow our thoughts, we are going to uninvite you from the Oscars.
And not just her tweets, but also her refusal to follow the sort of protocols of how you apologize.
And that's
for
the
things.
next thing, exactly.
Right? It's sort of going rogue from Netflix, doing it her own way, I think was the nail in her coffin more so than the tweets.
That's just bad business. That's not how Hollywood does this. I've been in difficult situations in my little tiny capacity where talent has stepped in it, and I've worked with talent that wanted to follow the fucking rules and apologize per the rules of the studio and the agents and how we do things in the press. And then I've dealt with talent that was said, I am innocent and I am going to stand here and I'm going to scream it into the sun. Nobody wants to hear that you're innocent. Everybody wants the fucking blood. Where's your apology, asshole? She went on an interview in Spain, and she said, without anybody's help from her campaign team, and she went rogue, and she said, I love everybody, sorry about that. And everybody said she's a piece of shit that can go die in a hole. It is just,
it's very interesting. And again,
I don't know.
I
don't know.
We're not defending Karla's tweets by any stretch of the
They're
imagination.
awful.
They're terrible. But it is
If I read them, I wouldn't have cast her in
it's
the film.
very interesting to when the sharks decide to circle in Hollywood and when they don't decide to
Brett.
circle. When they decide, like when they cover up stuff and just move on, and then when they all circle and are out for blood. And this has the nasty feel of everyone ganging up on a person that they perceive as vulnerable and without a lot of friends or connections.
There's no-
who they know they can destroy.
But dude, there's no like, you don't get any points now for backing Karla Sofía Gascón. Before you could walk around with your little pin that says, I voted for the trans woman to win Best Actress. I'm a fucking star. The movie is in Spanish. Look at me, look at me. And once all of your goodwill got taken away, you stripped her of her power.
Her usefulness in the sort of cultural capital of Hollywood was
Right.
taken away because she couldn't be everyone's sort of badge of honor anymore.
I like Emilia Pérez. I like Karla's performance in Emilia Pérez, but I would never say it was one of the best performances of the year. And I think people just wanted to wear that as a badge of honor. And now they were like, and they throw her away. I just find the whole thing to be so distasteful and ugly. Her comments, of course, the tip of the iceberg, but just this really exposed some ugly parts of the Hollywood award machine.
I agree.
That I find distasteful, ugly, and like not in the spirit. It's just not fair. It's like Karla Sofía Gascón said disgusting, stupid things on Twitter. It's like Brett said, Roman Polanski won an award, Sean Penn won an award. Sean Penn's in PTA's new movie coming out next year. We're all going to stand up and nominate him Best Supporting Actor. Like, enough.
Because again, Karla is
Enough.
just one person with bad ideas. But this other thing is like an industry-wide mechanism that to me is it's just troubling, and it's just nasty.
It's so nasty.
Yeah.
And look, this is the big leagues. You're gonna get torn
Big
down.
leagues.
Like, welcome, Karla. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna fucking ruin you because like Demi Moore needs the Oscar or whatever. But I don't know. I hate like I love when people love Hollywood and everyone's nice and celebrating the weird movies, and I hate when it gets ugly and personal and money and culture. And I don't know.
Karla,
I don't
here's
like it.
here's my suggestion to you: show up to the Academy Awards.
Of course you will.
Do the slap. Do the slap again.
You get
Do
up
the
there
slap.
and just slap. Paul Mescal,
An homage.
Daisy.
Slap the
Slap
shit
it.
out of Paul Mescal. Go to the Oscars, slap the shit out of Paul
Mescal's like,
Mescal.
Short films.
I'm not like
as
rooting for
exciting.
you. I just want to see the spectacle of it. I guess I'm part of the problem too.
Yeah, well.